Welcome to 33 Dreams of Indy and our St. Pete post-race show. The 2024 IndyCar season is officially underway, and what a way to kick it off for the 22nd time on the streets of St. Pete. Alex Palou and the Chip Ganassi Racing team put on a Masterclass performance, holding off a late race charge from Scott Dixon and Joseph Newgarden in IndyCar's big debut on Fox. Speaking of fire, how about Dennis Hauger lighting up the Indy NXT series? We'll also break down the rising stars from the USF Pro Championship. All that right here on 33 Dreams of Indy St. Pete post-race show. So let's dive right in. Nearly 1.5 million viewers on Fox. Welcome, everyone. Appreciate all of you that tuned in to our watch-along and viewer party shows, shall we say, live streams that we did over the weekend. And we had quite a record number of viewers as well on 33 Dreams of Indy. Just a new way to be able to bring the action to you. But this was Alex Palou's 12th victory on the IndyCar series. I remember back in 2020 when this name that we really couldn't pronounce or didn't know anything about this individual was signed by Dale Coyne Racing to come on board. Made his debut at Texas, was actually in a wreck with a fellow rookie, Renus VK, but ended up making a podium that year in 2020, and the very next year was signed by Chip Ganassi. And Chip Ganassi, as he said, is known to love winners. And boy, are we seeing that with Palou. Now, in one of our comments that we had in one of our shows, one of our viewers was saying, well, maybe this makes him a legend. And I had to respectfully push back on that just a little bit. Let's give him that title after a couple more victories. Back-to-back championships sure is something else. He's going for 3 in a row, something that Dario Franchitti was able to do. Was the last one to do, again with Chip Ganassi Racing. But until Alex wins on the ovals, nothing to take away from his win at St. Pete. But when he wins on the ovals, and especially in Indy 500, then maybe we'll start to talk about that. But before the race even got going, qualification action was fast and furious. Let's take a look at some of the action that was occurring. Scott Dixon laid it all out on the line as he was going through. He was the 6th place, made it into the Firestone Fast 6. Some of the notables that did not make it, Pato Award ended up starting the race in 23rd, had some difficulty in getting going. Others that were in the top 6, Marcus Ericsson, Ericsson just outside of the top 6, solid showing all the way through practice for all of the Andretti cars, but Ericsson just missing the Firestone Fast 6 as he started the race in 7th position. Scott Dixon, as we indicated before, last driver into the Firestone Fast 6, started the race in 6th position. Great showing for Dixon. Always solid at St. Pete and a great way to get the championship season started. Christian Lundgaard, he was the standard bearer for Arrow McLaren as he made the start in 5th. And also led some laps in the race. Best finisher with the Arrow McLaren team. We'll talk more about them in just a bit. The surprise of qualifying had to have been Meyer Shank Racing and what they were doing. Marcus Armstrong debut with the team, and him qualifying 4th. And then that was backed up by Felix Rosenqvist. Bringing the number 60 car for Meyer Shank Racing into the 3rd position. So they locked out the 2nd row, and their team was definitely quite happy with the performance, as you'll see in just a moment. Elio there cheering on. We're looking forward to seeing Elio at the Indy 500. Colton Herta, a strong start to the season, picking up where he left off at the Nashville race and put it on the outside pole. It's just amazing to watch these drivers through the streets. But your pole position, Scott McLaughlin, where he took this. All 6 of the Firestone Fast 6, their times throughout the sessions, although within the last 6 they weren't, but their times were in the 59-second range. So in the 1.8 mile, 14 turn St. Pete track, they were picking them up and putting them down, shall we say. And it was very impressive to see them working through that. Let's take another look at Scotty McLaughlin's qualifying lap and his pole setting lap as he had put the car in the wall right at this same location in practice. So the Thirsty Threes with Team Penske had to put the car back together. The under tray, the left front, all of that suspension needed to be repaired. He was able to come back out and put it on the pole for qualifying. So it was a great performance. Let's hear from Scotty Mac here in just a second. So, a lot of the race was dependent upon the strategy that was going to go on. Firestone and the series agreed that there would be a new compound for the alternate tire. The sustainable tire that they're using, the green sidewall tire that they brought. And they were looking for much more drop-off in the alternate tire. Last year or in the previous years, they had been able to go 20, 30 laps and not see a big drop-off in the tire, especially at St. Pete and some of the other street courses. So Firestone came along with a compound, and before you know it, Connor Daly was even saying that that tire was good for about 4 laps. In one of the local Fox station pre-race shows, in an interview, he indicated that it was probably going to be 4 laps, and a couple of the drivers, including Alex Palou, indicated that that was probably a strategy that they were going to use, is come in very, very early. The primary tire as well also had more drop-off, but we didn't see it as significant as we did with the alternate tire. So tires played a big point in the overall strategy of the race, and so let's jump to the race itself.
Drivers, start your engines!
So the band Shinedown that appeared on Felix Rosenquist's car, a tie-in with Sirius XM, getting us started with the drivers start your engines. Fairly clean start, although Scotty Mac got a great jump on this, but everyone made it safely through turn 1. But they didn't make it much further than that. And so a couple of the cars got collected there, as we'll see right here in the back of the pack. Nolan Siegel, Will Power, and Louis Foster in his rookie debut. Those 3 cars coming together. We'll see from an onboard with Will Power that it was an accordion effect. What we don't see from this was Foster getting into the back. Foster's already turned by that point. And so that got the drivers there a little bit of a friendly discussion between them. A key to this is we want to see in all three of those drivers' cases, Nolan Siegel to get off for a good start with Errol McLaren. He filled into that seat last year and then is continuing on, scheduled for a full season here. I've never heard of silly season or crazy season starting so early with everybody talking about Will Power. Will Power in a contract year has already signed with a representation company with Fernando Alonso's and Oriol Servia, and there are some that are already indicating that he'll be out of that seat. This doesn't help to start the season for his championship push, but it just seems a little early for me as to what they're talking about and trying to already put somebody from the AJ Foyt racing team into that. I'll leave that part there. And then for Louis Foster, the Indy NXT champion from last year with Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan Racing, getting caught up on that as well. Not able to complete any more of the race. Those three were out of the race right away. Siegel finishing 25th, 26th for Power, and 27th for Louis Foster in his IndyCar debut. So back to the action and further along in the action, let's really talk about then some of the strategy. Really what happened is all but 9 of the cars came in right away and got off of the alternate tires and got onto the primaries. So in a later pit stop, Newgarden makes the pass. Alex Palou comes into the pits 1 lap earlier than his teammate. And you'll see here on the blend that when he comes out, his in-lap and out-lap, so he was able to beat the cars out. And then we'll see that caught Scott Dixon in traffic, a very clean and fast pit stop. Dixon comes out of the pits, but watch the blend here again. Great coverage by Fox with the overhead there. Comes out just behind Alex Palou. Alex able to have a great outlap on that. Alex was held up for a period of time by Stingray Robb, who was the last car in the lead lap. That allowed Newgarden and Dixon to come in and close the gap. But after that point, it was really him checking out. At the very, very end, then it was Dixon getting past Newgarden to finish second. But Alex Palou was able to really put on a strategy masterclass, had the benefit of having his radio that was working. We'll hear in just a bit that Scott Dixon did not have a working radio, and that held him up. He thought that his team was wanting to come in, but he was not able to get into the pits at the time that he wanted. And so celebration all around for Alex Palou to start his defense of his championship as he goes for a three-peat in 2025. Gotta love the family time that he has there as well, able to celebrate there. So your podium, Palou, Dixon, and Newgarden. Other cars, as we check down the running order as what went through, just off the podium, Scott McLaughlin was able to finish 4th. The Andretti teammates of Kirkwood and Ericsson in 5th and 6th. Felix Rosenquist in 7th. And then Joseph Lundgaard in 8th. Renus VK with Dale Coyne Racing in 9th. And Alexander Rossi rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, what an amazing job by everyone at Chip Ganassi Racing, HRC, DHL, and everybody at the 10 car. They gave me everything I needed this weekend to win. I told you yesterday that we had a really, really fast car, so was looking forward to the race. Our strategy changed a lot during that first yellow, but so glad that we got that number 10 victory lane. It's been 138 days since Nashville, and been dreaming about this every single night.
So 138
It's
days.
huge. It's huge. I'm super happy. Honestly, we've been working really, really hard, but it's been a place that we struggled a lot in the past, especially me personally. So to start with the win in 2025 season, it's amazing.
So 138 days between the last race of last season and the first one of this year. I know that I was excited to get IndyCar racing back and going. Seems like a bit long of a gap, but we'll talk about scheduling at another point in one of our shows. Let's check in with Scott Dixon, who finished second. He'll talk about his radio issues.
Yeah, that was frustrating. We had no radio, so, kind of just flying blind out there. And ultimately, I think they were trying to call me in because in that last lap we had before we pitted, there was just so much traffic and we lost 2 or 3 seconds, and that's where, the 10 car got us. So definitely frustrating. I think we had the speed, we had a great car. I think the pit stops are fantastic. Just would have been nice to have a radio so I could kind of know what was going on out there. But kudos to the 10 car, and congrats to Chip and everybody on the team, the PNC Bank number 9. Honda did a fantastic job there, especially with fuel mileage. So yeah, frustrated, man. I thought we really had that one, and we came up short.
Thankfully, this race didn't turn into really a fuel mileage race. It was a hanging on with the tires and what they were able to do there. It was also great to see the celebration of the 20th year victory of Dan Weldon with his wife, Susie Weldon, being able to wave the green flag to start the race, the pace car being driven by Sebastian Weldon. Sebastian will be off to Italy in Formula Series, and then Oliver Weldon as well participating. Oliver will get his first chance at the USF Juniors Series, a series that Sebastian was in last year, so they'll be racing in a couple weeks here. So your rundown of it, we went through the top 10. Palou Award, in one of his social posts, he said that he turned crap into gold by coming back from 11th. He had a puncture. He had a couple difficulties. Graham Rahal, a solid 12th. Malukas and Ferrucci with AJ Foyt Racing, they both were in the top 10 for a period of time. And Christian Rasmussen was at top 10 all through practice, and then dropped back in qualifying, but was able to turn it around in the race. If it wasn't for bad luck, Colton Herta may not have any luck at all from the standpoint of car did not get fully fueled, and also a right rear issue with the tire and getting that put on. That dropped him back from his second starting position to 16th. Connor Daly, Kiffin Simpson, Callum Ilott, the top finishing rookie, Robert Schwartzman, who was respectable in the race for the first outing for Prima. Stingray Robb in the last part got some camera time and attention as Alex Palou had difficulty getting around him. Jacob Abel, Devlin DeFrancesco, didn't want to skip over him. And then the last portions of it, I don't have Will Power on there, so I need to make sure that I've got that one. Will Power and Louis Foster were the other two cars that were out from that standpoint. So Indy NXT. Let's move on to Indy NXT. And oh my goodness, I had not been paying attention. I try to pay attention to the U.S. Road to Indy, or the Formula Series. But this young driver for the Andretti Global team, Dennis Hauger from Norway, was really something else. I'll share a little secret with you. My number 2 viewership nation this weekend was from Norway. Individuals that were tuning in, not able to get the race, and so they did the watch along or the live stream with us. Dennis Hauger put on a show in the Indy NXT series. So let's go to some of the highlights here.
We are green from St. Pete. Hauger, Hughes. Side by side for a moment. Hauger is going to get the jump. Collette's trying to dive to the inside. And we've got contact. And at least 2-3 impacted further in the pack. James Rowe is one of them. And Tommy Smith is not going to get through.
So we knew there would be potentially some difficulties at the start of the race for Dennis Hauger, used to the standing starts. Now, I know he's done rolling starts in go-karts or other forms of racing, but first time in the Indy NXT as a rookie, and here he is going through the start, but really the difficulty ended up being like the IndyCar series. It ended up being further back in the action. So we appreciate Kevin Lee, the FS1 coverage and the feed that was provided us by IndyCar and Penske Entertainment. Let's pick up the action on the restart. Single file restart after the initial, and you see them going through, but the front three cars is staying in line. Hauger, Loki Hughes, and Callie Collette. Jack William Miller with a great showing in fourth with the Able Motorsports. Just got overtaken there in the scene by his teammate Miles Rowe.
Petersburg. Caution on the opening lap. Back to green. And no change up front. Dennis Hauger, Loki Hughes, Kyle Collette. Jack William Miller jumped up to fourth at the start. Miles Rowe has gotten back by him. That's him in the black and red number 99. The blue car is Miller in fifth, and Salvador de Alba is right behind him in that blue.
So Miller this year with Able Motorsport, his team, Miller Vinatieri Racing, also partnering with the runner-up to the championship last year, Able Motorsport, and a very strong showing early on in the race. We'll pick up the race a little bit later, lap 9.
There's James Rowe, who was involved in the opening lap contact, came in for repairs, so he was multiple laps down, and he is into the barriers. Full course caution. So we'll get another restart coming up.
So turn 10.
Up front, it's the Andretti drivers, the Brazilian. Collette in third. Miles Rowe is in fourth. Let's go again from St. Pete. Hauger sprinting down the airport runway into turn 1. Hughes in pursuit. Not close enough. Collette thinks about it. Jack William Miller in the blue car. Looks inside Miles Rowe. Backs out of it. All through clean. Turn 1 on the restart.
So every restart, we had a feeling that maybe that Hughes or Collette would be able to catch up and put some pressure on, but it never came to be from that standpoint.
On the outside of turn 4.
And how did Callum Edge get through there? That is tight, and he found a way to fit in that gray number 17. All right, let's ride on the Franks Red Hot on board with Ricardo Escoto. Jack, take us through turn 1.
Yeah, so you're coming through 1, you're hugging the inside there. Turn 2, super quick, and looks like we've just gone to a yellow, actually. Not sure what's happened here, but...
Well, let's see who has the issue, and it is Nolan Owler in the HMD Motorsports.
Disappointing result for Owler. Very quickly, we glimpsed that, and if you see on his social media, he was running a tribute helmet for the Tampa Bay Lightning, so showing some local spirit there, but ended up off the track in turn 13 as he was 13-14 as he was making the dog leg or the U-turn, shall we say, to get back onto the runway of Albert Whitted Park. James Rowe, disappointing for him in that he was in the first lap damage. They thought that they had it repaired. He went back out, turn 10. You could see him clearly turning the wheel and the car continuing to go straight. So frustrating for both of those drivers to start the season and their championship hopes. Going to have to bear down and work a little bit harder throughout the rest of the season.
Ready to go again after the third caution. Does anyone have anything for Dennis Hauger? His Andretti teammate, Loki Hughes, right behind. How about Kyle Collette, the veteran, in third? Callum Hedge is coming down to the inside, trying to defend. A little further back, they will fan out. Single file up front. A lock up for Escoto. Hedge with that position. And we are clean through 1. Now this twisty section in 2 and 3, quite challenging.
Yeah, very challenging. You're coming into 4. That's a big braking zone. These tyres are now cold. Very easy to lock up, but you're now focused on the exit of 9. We're not there yet. They will be. Oh!
Oscolo
Nice
hangs
save.
on to it.
Nice
Big time
save.
slide.
Nice save. I like to see that.
And a caution. And Jack William Miller is in the wall. And that is almost certainly going to end things and send Hauger to victory lane. Full course caution with 2 minutes to go on the clock, and it's gone away for Jack William Miller.
Shame for Jack William Miller, running 5th at the time. Showed a lot of maturity, a lot of poise. We have a interview from 6 years ago with Jack William Miller when he was just starting in the USF Pro Championships, and he's come a long way. Great showing, and the difficulty is he now has to wait a long period of time before the next Indy NXT race to redeem himself. But I think he can hold his head high of how well he ran with his new team to get to that point. You'll see it was a 45-lap race scheduled or a TV time limit. They hit the TV time limit, shall we say. They were able to complete 44 of the 45 laps that were there. So the rundown: Dennis Hauger, Loki Hughes, Callie Collette, Miles Rowe, Salvador de Alba, Jordan missing, Jonathan Brown, disappointing qualifying effort, but the Chip Ganassi Racing next team, he was able to come back to 7th. Callum Hedge, Josh Pearson was not able to take a qualifying lap, electrical problems for that HMD Motorsport car, but yet he was able to come back, rise in the race. We saw Ricardo Escato doing a little drifting there as he was coming through turn 4. Local driver from St. Pete, Gulfport, Florida, Nikita Johnson, 11th. First time ever in an Indy NXT car, and he brought it home in one piece and did a fine job for HMD Motorsports. Also with HMD Motorsports, Sophia Flores, Bryce Aaron, Haley Deegan made her way up to 14th. Tommy Smith involved in that first lap incident, but was able to come back for 15th. Jack William Miller dropping down to 16th. Sebastian Murray, Liam Skates, and then we saw the incidents with Nolan Aller, James Rowe, and Niles Coolin caught up in the first portion of it. So let's hear from our winner with the Indy NXT race, Dennis Hauger.
Definitely. I mean, didn't expect to be straight up there like that, but we definitely had a good weekend as a team as well. I think the pace was strong for the most of us, and just had a clean run. Tried to keep it clean up front and not to do anything crazy. And we had a few safety cars and a few restarts, but managed it well, and super happy to end the weekend on top.
I was going to say those restarts can sometimes be a little anxious, but you were able to keep everybody behind you. How were you able to do that?
Yeah, there's a lot of new things this weekend for me. So restarts itself, cold tires, not really sure how the Firestone tires are reacting. But it went really well. Took about half a lap, and we were good to go again. So it felt nice and it felt smooth, and Andretti gave me a good car to be up there comfortably. So happy with that.
Fantastic, Dave. First with the interview there in the Indy press room, Indy NXT. Let's hear from also Dennis Hauger giving a shout out to his fans there in Norway.
That's super cool. I mean, just seeing the interest back home in Norway and the support I get all around is such a big thing for me, and it's so cool to see. And hopefully we can get a few more this season.
So first rookie to win an Indy NXT, or what was Indy Lights race, since Linus Lundqvist was able to do that as well in his first race in 2021. He went on to win the championship. We'll see if the USF Pro 2000 champion from last year, Loki Hughes, has anything for Dennis Hauger. Now the thing is, we have to wait until Barber Motorsports Park. That'll be the next race for the Indy NXT series. Let's talk about USF and the USF Pro and the USF 2000 championships and the racing that was also as part of the racing going on in the streets of St. Pete, as they were also kicking off their season. Of the 3 USF Pro championships, the USF Juniors did not participate, but the USF 2000, USF Pro and USF Pro 2000 were able to do that. Your initial winner there, let me make sure that I get to the right races in my facts and figures. 4 years straight for Turn 3 Motorsport, winning at the road at St. Pete. That's dating back to Josh Green being able to pull off the feet for Turn 3, and then a succession from there. So Alexandro De Tullio, he was able to pick up the win with Turn 3 Motorsports. Max Garcia, this is in race 1 with Paps Racing, and Michael Costello. So that rounded out your podium for the first race. USF Pro 2000, they ran 2 races. In the second race that we saw then Max Garcia be able to come back on this one and put his Paps Racing car on the top podium. Rounding out the podium, Mac Clark. Expect great things from him this year. The Canadian driver with the Canadian team with Exclusive Autosport. So him being able to get on the podium. And Jacob Douglas, a rookie in the USF Pro Series, he rounded out the podium for Paps Racing. Also racing over the weekend was the USF 2000 series, and in the USF 2000 series we had back-to-back winners in this, where Liam McNeely took both of the races for Jay Howard Driver Development. So he was on the top step of the podium. Back-to-back wins for Liam. Fantastic to see. Jack Jeffers with Exclusive Autosport. He was second in both races. In race number 1, it was, hope I'm pronouncing correctly, Joshua Anali with D-Force Racing. And then in race number 2, Caleb Gaffara with Paps Racing. So they get their series up and going with USF Pro. These are the names to pay attention to, because they'll be your next Indy NXT drivers that come into the series, like Loki Hughes was, and then your future stars of IndyCar. So it's always great to recognize those drivers and see that. So hope you enjoy our post-race show. Going to do something a little different. Would love for you, for future shows, drop me a message on any one of the socials. You can find us at 33 Dreams of Indy. So would love for you to comment on this particular video. When doing so, we'll include you in future shows potentially. Also, leave us a voicemail message. Numbers there on the screen. Leave a voicemail, and you're giving us permission to use that. And if you have a question about USF Pro Championships, Indy NXT, what's going on in IndyCar, we'll be able to have a response back to those. And if I don't have the answer, I'll go digging a bit, and we'll be able to find those things out. So would love to get your feedback. I'm so excited that racing is up and running. Thermal is the next stop for IndyCar, and then the Barber Motorsport for Indy NXT. So hope you've enjoyed. I'm going to leave you with a little social media from Sophia Flores, driver for HMD Motorsports. I know she's got a lot of fans out there. Until next time, keep dreaming and make it a great day.
The number you have dialed is not available at present. Please leave your message after the beep.
Yeah, trendsetter, whoa, league of my own, it don't get better. No, read what I wrote, I'm a bestseller. Yeah, reach for my goals, hit it dead center.